February 26th, 2022, Halfcast 249, episode 249. Let's go. Of course, I have a few things to share with you guys. An evening of reflection. Shall we? Former police chief with warrants arrested after allegedly faking his own death. This is news to me. I thought being a police chief means you've made yourself a few friends you could call in a few favors. An alleged staged suicide or pseudocide has landed a former North Carolina police chief behind bars for dozens of charges. I guess favors only go so far, right? William Anthony Spivey, 36, is the former police chief of Chadbourne, North Carolina. He was arrested February 24th following a crime tip and an investigation that included multiple local and statewide law enforcement agencies. He currently has 40 outstanding warrants for failure to appear. Each warrant has a bond of $25,000 for a total bond of $1 million. They didn't even give him a hologram to try to throw him off. On the same day, Columbus County Sheriff Jody Green said that his office arrested Debbie Bridger Sasser in Fair Bluff. She was charged with one felony count of obstructing justice for allegedly assisting Spivey with his pseudocide. Harold Dean Sasser was also arrested in Whiteville and charged with the same crime. Of course, you would need a couple people to help you pull off the ruse. You need somebody to get a death certificate and a couple people to like notify next of kin. Not like I planned this out or anything myself, but both individuals received $100,000 bonds. Green said the investigation remains ongoing and that more arrests are likely. According to the Horry County Police Department, Spivey was relieved of duty last spring following a misconduct investigation by the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigations. He was eventually charged with over 70 felony crimes, including evidence mishandling, drug trafficking, and embezzling. Authorities said that Spivey was reported missing this past. I would be too. You can't fight all that shit. Authorities said that Spivey was reported missing this past Monday after failing to return from a fishing trip on the Lumber River in Columbus County, leading to an extensive water search. The thought of the biggest criminal in town being the chief of police. Green said his department was contacted by North Carolina wildlife officers in reference to an abandoned boat located in the Lumber River near the Sand Hills Hunting Club. At the scene, officers reportedly noticed a truck at a boat landing in the hunting camp with people in the vicinity. Officers were reportedly told by Spivey's friends and family that Spivey was last seen driving the truck. The boat also belonged to him. But they thought of something better than gone fishing. You're faking somebody's death here. This is serious business, and the only thing you could come up with was gone fishing. Those interviewed at the scene described the situation as a potential suicide. Following the collection of evidence, Green said that the words of Spivey's friends and family regarding suicide didn't add up. Of course they didn't. Gone fishing. One pivotal tip cracked open the case. On Thursday, Columbus County Sheriff's Office investigators met with Horry County patrol officers and detectives and all went to an apartment complex in Loris, South Carolina, due to a citizen tip. So if I'm faking my death, or I'm on the run, or for some weird chance both, because the hologram glitched on me, the stupidest thing I can do is move to a community where people see me every day. Spivey was at the complex and reportedly ran into a wooded area behind the complex. A police report from the Horry County Police Department obtained by Newsweek said the officers located Spivey submerged in a creek like a turtle behind the building. Officers gave Spivey commands to exit the water and go onto land with his hands up due to potentially being armed. The subject came onto the dry wooded area but attempted to resist officers as they tried to place him into restraints, Horry police said. The subject yelled, "We will have to shoot," as he reached for his waist area while resisting. The subject was taken to the ground in an attempt to restrain him as he continued to resist by still reaching for his waist area. That would have been very ironic for him to get shot dead after faking his own death. At about 12:45 a.m., Spivey was eventually placed into constraints and arrested without further incident. North Carolina police officer charged after allegedly dealing cocaine in uniform from his patrol car. Buy from the name you know and trust. This complaint alleges that an on duty Raleigh Police Department officer in his police cruiser with his gun dealt drugs. Michael Easley, the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of North Carolina, said at a news conference Thursday, "When one who wears the badge breaks the law, it breaches the public trust." Easley said, "This alleged crime is a serious breach of public trust." On Wednesday, the officer, 33-year-old Kevin Rodriguez, was arrested on charges of distributing cocaine and possession of a firearm in furtherance of a drug trafficking crime, Easley's office said in a news release. An investigation began last November after Raleigh police and agents with the Federal Drug Enforcement Administration were tipped by two confidential sources that Rodriguez allegedly was distributing controlled substances and that he was a cop. As part of an immediate investigation, a confidential source arranged to meet Rodriguez on January 24th. Rodriguez, in uniform, allegedly arrived in his Mark Raleigh police patrol car with the lights flashing, no, and with his duty firearm, Easley said. The source then gave Rodriguez $2,600 in cash, and Rodriguez allegedly turned over 56 grams of cocaine according to the criminal complaint. This is a story of someone that's just so greedy that he's just lost all types of discretion. Nothing is a secret. He was charged with distribution of a quantity of cocaine and possession of a firearm in a drug trafficking crime. If convicted of the two counts, Rodriguez, who holds the rank of Field Operations Division Officer, you was moving up with your career. Why you throw it away? Faces a mandatory minimum of 5 years in prison and a maximum of life in prison. Rodriguez was placed on leave without pay after his arrest and is the subject of an internal affairs investigation, said Raleigh Police Chief Estella Patterson, reports the News and Observer. If I'm in internal affairs, my immediate assumption is that there is more than just him. He's not the only one dealing drugs. The arrest of Mr. Rodriguez is a disappointment to me, the Raleigh Police Department, and the citizens and residents of our community, Patterson said. Although disheartening, I want to ensure transparency to maintain public trust. He didn't even have the decency to fake his death like the old police chief from Mayberry back there. Hotel manager sentenced to 15 years for sex trafficking. If I'm in law enforcement and I'm waging the war on human trafficking and sex trafficking, this man is my worst enemy because he has a legal front to give these victims room and board. Faisal Bamani of Bartonsville, Pennsylvania, where was sentenced to 15 years in prison for sex trafficking and drug trafficking offenses. Of course, drugs too. Officials say Bamani was general manager of a Howard Johnson, not the Hojo, where dreams come true hotel in Bartonsville, in which sex trafficking as well as drug trafficking took place. Presque Isle Downs fined security officer fired after underage women gambled at casino. Most bars, most casinos do it because they know as long as women are in the building, the men are going to spend a little bit more money. A night of gambling for two 19-year-old women in April cost Press Isle Downs and Casino $17,500 and cost the casino employee a job. The Pennsylvania Gaming Control Board announced that the approval of a consent agreement between the board's office and enforcement council and PID LLC, the operator of the Summit Township Casino, to settle an underage gambling issue at the casino on April 21st. If I'm 19, as long as I'm not being served any alcohol, what's the difference between me playing the lottery, betting on horses, or betting on a damn football game? What's the difference? Presque Isle Downs was fined $15,000 and agreed to pay $2,500 in costs after the casino allowed the pair of 19-year-old women to gamble for nearly 2 hours, violating state law that prohibits individuals under 21 from being on the gaming floor and gambling. The Gaming Control Board said on Wednesday, yeah, that's a state law. That's a shitty state law. One of two security officers at the casino's entrance when the women arrived, but who did not check their identification, was fired as a result of the incident. The other security officer was issued a written warning, according to the information in the consent agreement. The first thing that came to mind was a bunch of little kids under a trench coat standing on each other's shoulders, sneaking past security, betting it all on orange. The violations came to light on the afternoon of April 23rd when a security official informed the casino surveillance department that a patron was at the north entrance but was denied entry for not having identification. The patron told security officials that she had gambled at the casino while underage on April 21st, according to the consent agreement. So she gets to the gate and she's like, oh, well, so and so let me in the other day. You can't do it for me this time. Well, who was this so and so? Now there's starting to be a problem. The two 19-year-old women, identified in the agreement only by their initials, had entered the casino on April 21st at 8:12 p.m. One of two security officers at the entrance checked their temperatures as part of the casino's pandemic protocol, but did not request their identification. Both women were allowed entry to the gaming floor, according to the agreement. The two women played slot machines before leaving the casino shortly after 10 p.m. on April 21st, officials said. The two women were not charged by the police. It was just slots. They smacked them with a fine like these girls were at the blackjack table counting cards. Officials wrote in the agreement that, according to Presque Isle Downs and casinos' internal controls, security officers must ask patrons to provide valid government issued photo identification if the patron appears to be under 30 years old. The security officer who was not fired following the incident was the officer who took the temperatures of the two 19-year-old women on April 21st. The written warning the officer was given indicated that while it was the officer's responsibility to perform temperature screenings, it was important to be aware that any guest may be underage, according to information in the agreement. Fun show, fun show, fun show. That being said, I'm going to wrap this one up, but I'll be sure to talk to you guys very, very soon. Adios.